I could have created a lot of content recently, but I've actively decided not to. So, for instance, I see content, I see people's opinions in life, in politics, in society. And a lot of the time, in all honesty, it triggers me. I'm not even someone who comments. I don't like comments. So you might see a lot of my recent videos of disabled comments. It's only because I just don't care. Like, I don't care about comments in general. Like, I don't comment on other people's content. So that's just personal choice to me. But I've been seeing other people's content, for instance, and I come close to commenting, and I'm not even someone who wants to comment on people's content, you know. But even I get so close to, and then I think, you know what, it's something I might have to talk about. But then I get so fed up. I'm just like, I can't even bother to talk about it. When it comes to society, like I said, in politics and all the other areas, I'm getting a bit tired of having to sort of like raise awareness to situations, educate. It's like it's constant. There's always it's like it's unreal to me how people navigate this world. And I can't fathom it at all. Like, and I'm looking on and I'm just thinking, I can't keep educating people. I can't be bothered, you know. So like, I see in the content, and I'm sort of thinking about the comment, and I'm thinking I could say something here, and I'm thinking I can't even be asked. I really can't. It's unreal how bad comment sections get as well. So like, it could be the content creator's got a really warped perspective on life in general, or you know, there's a immense bias, or the comment section's incredibly toxic, and you know, people just going rampant, and it's just there's no values really. And there's certain things I could pull up now, but I don't think I even saved them. I moved on. I just moved on. You know, it's absolutely mental how the world is at the moment. I'm getting tired, so I'm trying to create less content. I'm literally actively not reacting to certain things now. Something's happened here though, and I just thought, oh, yet another bloody thing. So it's not like this one's worse than the other things I've seen. It's more like it's just compounded the issue, and it's like, oh, yet another thing. I'll have to talk about this one, but I'm actively stepping further back because I'm getting tired. To be honest, the world is a mess, and rather than people come together or trying to take time to understand each other, whether it's your race, your religion, whether it's your gender, even sort of like your geographical location and things, but rather than sort of learn from each other, people are constantly competing or just looking to demean, devalue, not even taking the time to reflect and give people a fair chance. To put it in perspective, I just watched last night and I actually found it really interesting, and I really enjoyed it. And it was on TV, and I struggled to find some TV shows to watch lately. I play some video games mainly because I just can't be asked to find something to interest me, you know. And this was school swaps, and it was UK to USA or the other way around, but either way. So effectively, I can't remember how many students. Let's say it's 8 or 10 students. So there was 8 or 10 students from South London that went to go to school in America. I can't remember exactly the town. It wasn't like a big town, but they went to this American school, and the equivalent of Americans went to South London. So they stayed with each other's families. And I found that really interesting. And that's great because those people can have a balanced perspective on both lives. Now, it's always going to be more exciting when you go somewhere else because it's exotic. So you have to take that out. You have to look beyond sometimes the obvious, because obviously, you know, when something's exciting, it's new. So then it makes you want it. But it was interesting that some, you know, absolutely loved the experience each way. And then some obviously preferred their home comforts. But that was balanced, you know. Both were experiencing the same. So the Americans are experiencing the life the UK people have, and the UK people experiencing the life the Americans have. There's no like grey area in between here. There's no bias. It's literally, what is your experience? Now, for the Americans, some, you know, for the UK people that went to America, some enjoyed the experience more than others. In the end, I think they all enjoyed it. So I'm watching on, and I'm taking from it what I can, you know, because I'm looking, and there's certain things about America that was irritating me, to be totally honest, within the school system that I immediately picked up on. There was this toxic positivity, which I'm not really in favor of. I think I think personally it's about being realistic with your emotions, not forcing people to over-exaggerate things. I didn't like that. I just straight away noticed you've got, even if you're like not feeling it today, it's almost this like over-exuberance of having to be positive, and it's like, that's just mental for me. It's like, and then when I see people, and again, it's only my personal opinion. It's not like I'm right. It's just how I feel. Then I saw like they're going to do the homecoming thing, I think it was, and they got the band, you got all sorts of shit, and then they're sort of like doing the pledge of allegiance to the flag, and I just thought, bloody hell, this is like freaking North Korea. That's just how I felt. Like, this was strange as shit to me. Like, as Brits, we don't look at our national flag and start freaking paying homage to it. That's just weird. Like, and that's just how I feel. I just felt that was weird. Like, what we're doing here, like, you're pledging your allegiance. It should just be automatic. You shouldn't have to pledge shit. That doesn't make sense. Again, that's my mind. I'm like, that is weird. That was really cult. I felt cultist. In all honesty, the words that come into my head was cult. That was cultist to me. Like, that was crazy. And Americans are considered patriotism. And that's just, like, again, that's my interpretation. Again, Americans are going to think I'm nuts thinking it's cultist. But, like, from the outside, that's cultist. And then I saw the homecoming thing where you get proms. That's a lot of pressure on people, especially when they're young, where you have to realistically, without seeming socially awkward, you have to have a date for a prom, even at a young age, where maybe you're not even ready for relationships or you want that. It becomes a popularity contest. So people were giving into peer pressure. Like, they were literally, their whole behavioral traits were changing because of the pressure from their friend group to be what they expect him to be. And I was like, no chance. Even as a youngster, I wouldn't put up with that shit. I've always been independent, so I don't even give a shit. If anyone thought I was weird, I don't care about that shit. I'd rather be weird on my own than a freaking a copy of someone else. It's like, I'm not doing it. So I don't give a shit if I was ridiculed, I mean, I wasn't ridiculed in school, but if I was in the American system as ridiculed, so be it. I can't give a shit. There's no way I'm doing that. So again, the peer pressure side I thought was a bit heavy, which I didn't like. I think with the prom thing being, like, for instance, where this having to be adults when you're younger, like, it was a lot of pressure. And I just thought that was so unnecessary. Everything was just weird. Like, for me, it was weird because then you heard the head teacher talking and they were saying about, like, for instance, everything's about the school because, like, we need funding, but we also need everybody to be interested in things. So we put these events on to make the school the center of the community. But the main thing really is about our football team and the school performing and things. And I just thought, this is weird. This is really strange. A school's a school. You go there to learn and you go home. But America makes a school the center of their community. Like, I'm not sure if that's a good thing or bad thing. I'm just saying it's weird to me. Like, that's just strange. But from Americans, maybe it gives them places to go and it gives them purpose because some people get bored. So I don't think that's entirely negative, but I just find it strange to me. It's just that's a cultural thing, isn't it? You could. But yeah, anyway. So the peer pressure, the toxic positivity thing was a bit mad. There was one girl who had to, as a group, had to try out for cheerleading, and one just really didn't feel it at all. And she said, "I don't like cheer." And I knew what she meant. But first of all, she had a little bit of a body conscious image, which I thought was a bit, like, unnecessary. Like, some people are so self-defeating, and I felt sad for her. Like, I really thought you got a good personality, you're intelligent. There's nothing wrong with how you look, and you'd be self-critical all the time. And it's like, again, that comes down to the way people have maybe treated you through life, especially at a young age. I thought that was quite sad, to be honest. But when she kept saying, "I don't like cheer," I just thought, I get what you're saying. It's like, you don't like that toxic positivity shit where everybody's smart. Even if you're sad, you're smiling, and you just got to, like, be extremely happy. And it's like, that's freaking mental. That's like a mental asylum. Yeah, I wouldn't do that shit either. Like, it's not like you want to sit there being miserable, but I just want to feel how I feel in a moment. I don't want to be told, you've got to smile now, you've got to be chanting, you've got to be doing this, now be really happy, really smile. I was like, fuck, this is a freaking nightmare. This is definitely a cult. I would definitely have felt, if I was there, I would immediately feel this is cultist, and I'm just a pawn in this freaking weird society. And that might be my mind just completely blowing it out of proportion, and it's just literally their traditions. But because I'd see one sign that it's this cultist, especially with the way they're chanting to the freaking flag, that was cultist to me. And then this toxic positivity shit with the cheerleading and things, and then the way you're paying homage to these freaking football players like they're the messiahs and things. I'm like, I'd be looking around going, this place is creepy as shit. I'd want to Forrest Gump the shit out of that. I would want to get out of there. That's just, again, I'm not here to sort of like be Mr. Negative or trying to criticize. This is perspective. Then I saw the Americans go to the UK. And it's weird, isn't it? Because you've gone from this American, this really overstated situation. UK is far more subtle. It's far more dim, I guess. But I think it's just more personable. I think people are just more real. Now, again, you're going to get peer pressure and you're going to get sort of local dialects and things like that. And I think London is a very you could say ghetto, very different. It's not the same around the whole country, is it? If you pick a specific space, London is a city, so it's tightly packed. There's going to be issues. There's going to be but a lot of diversity. So it's very unique, should I say? But that was interesting because you've got a girl who's gone there from America, for instance. She's saying she's got a boyfriend, but she was quite pretty, and some of the boys really liked her, and she was like, "No, I'm not interested." And then she made a point. I mean, I know this is completely different to what the other one was doing, but she sort of had letters she was supposed to open each day from her boyfriend, and she said, "I haven't even been opening them. I'm not interested. I'd just rather spend time with these people." And then when she went home, she was like, "I really want to go back to London." And again, I think that's the sad part in life in general. It's like we don't all have the freedom. First of all, there's financial things, but then you've also got to apply for visas and all sorts of stuff. So even if your heart pulls you somewhere, you don't always. It's not as easy as it. But yeah, that was just a stark difference. The biggest stark difference between I keep saying London because that's literally what they were promoting was the fact this was the London school. But yeah, difference between the UK and America, I think, is UK is just more grounded. I think it's just more. You're just more real. You know, there's banter, there's sarcasm. People are not going to just say everything's great all the time. You know, people might look at it like I think that's just British humour, though. British humour is we make fun of each other. You know, so you don't worry so much about people's feelings, although you could argue we should be more sensitive, and I get that. But at the same time, I think it creates. I just think it makes you more real. Like we're not overly loud for no reason. You get the odd loud person, but we're not loud like the Americans are loud. I'm not saying one way is better than the other. I mean, like I say, UK is just more subtle, more subdued. I guess you're not having all these events at school. You know, school's just to learn. Then you talk to your friends and things on your break times. And it's just literally. It was in comparison to America. It probably seemed incredibly boring, but it's like school isn't the focal point of the community. School is to go to learn and then go home. You know. I'm probably not selling the UK version very well because I predominantly watched the American bit because I was doing different things on my phone, and then it was like I don't really need to see the UK side so much, do I? But it was interesting seeing the Americans' take on it. The fact that they arrived, it did feel strange to them at first, but they all took to it, you know. But I think one of the kids made the point was when they got back to America, they had a lot of space. Now that's because they're in their rural, the towns and stuff. You know, they're away from the big cities. And London, of course, is a city. So they were just saying, I like my space, I like the yard. And then, like I said, some really wanted to go back. But the point now I'm showing really is the fact that you've got diversities in culture, and they've both experienced each other's, you know. So again, there'd be some that are happy to be home, there'd be some that want to go back. There were some that built relationships, and that was really sad because they only had so long. And some loved the experience so much, they asked the TV show at the very end, they said, will there be a season 2? Because they want to be part of it. You know, they want to go back to America. So, you know, my hot take on America in general isn't really going to be not necessarily how everybody else sees it, though. So, anyway, that's me talking about America. Now, let's talk about sexism, because this is just ridiculous at this point. You know, I don't determine something based on someone's any factor other than my interest in the topic. That's how I am. So, like, for instance, if I'm reading a book, it doesn't even cross my mind whether the author is a male or female. Like, that doesn't even, you know, when you think of like the list of things that make you choose a book, it doesn't even come on my list. I don't even notice. I literally don't even notice. It makes no bearing on my decision. I don't even think for a moment, oh wait a minute, who's the author? Is it a man or a woman? That doesn't even cross my mind. And yet you've got people, like women, who are boycotting men. And I'm thinking, oh my God, that's crazy to me, you know? Like, I don't give a shit if they read my books. Like, you have to have an open mind. You have to want to evolve. You have to want to look within and grow. If you're just going to be that restricted of your mind, that closed off, it's like you're definitely not ready to read what I've got to say. The fact is, too many people are sensitive in this world, and I don't do very well with sensitivities. So if you're that sensitive that you have to boycott people and sort of prejudge them before you've heard from them, and as soon as they say something you don't like, you get deeply reactive, I'd say you maybe work on that, because that's quite crazy to me. So, like I say, there's an awful lot of, I've done videos before, there's a lot of men hating in this world. Of course, there's a lot of female hating too, so I'm not saying it's like one way. It's like, but the fact is, it's divided though, isn't it? That's not normal. That's not how society should be. But what I find frightening with if we're going to talk like women's behavioural traits in general, and I'm not pinpointing this to every woman, but I have noticed a pattern. There's a lot of women, they get incredibly attached, but then when they learn something, I'm not saying this about everyone again, so don't take this too personal. There's just a lot of them are like this. They get deeply attached to something, and then when they learn something, they act like they are like masters in it. It's really strange. So I don't want to seem critical, but I'm going to have to just be a little bit here. So, like for instance, I've been a computer geek my whole life. Back in the 90s, when I was there, when it was just like a little green flash on your screen, you know, it's so basic in its form. Then I was tinkering my computer when it was breaking the computer, for instance. I was learning the hard way. Then I learned web design. I've learned all little things along the way, and I know how to build my computers. I know all this, everything you could need to know. And yet, it's becoming trendy nowadays to like technology and computers and things. You find there's a lot of younger generation of females who are now getting into like PC gaming, and they like to have they like to build the computers now, or at least they have them and they look fancy. And then you see them trying to educate, but it's the way they educate. It's very much trying to act like all of a sudden they're the expert on the field. And they're talking, it's almost talking down to you, like they're telling you something new. And it's like, I always find that quite funny. Like, it's quite demeaning. And it's like, you're not saying it in an educational way. You're doing it as an overbearing way, where you're trying to act like you're the one that knows everything, and we're all just here to learn. And it's like, that's crazy to me. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, most of us are aware of this. There's another generation who are now just watching Formula One because they've seen the Drive to Survive on Netflix. Now, I'm not trying to say because you're coming to it last or something, you're not any more like interested, but some of us been watching it for generations back in the 90s, you know. So again, it's this weird attachment to things, but then they blow it up, and then they sometimes go deeper than the average person. So, like, for instance, I watch Formula One because I just love Formula One. I like racing. I like the competitive edge of it. I like racing in general. Now, I'll pick a favorite team every now and then if I like a certain team, and then I like specific drivers. That might be my preferred drivers, should we say? I wouldn't say I've got a specific favorite. But I've got preferred drivers. Okay. If something happens to them in the race, it doesn't affect my day. I just get on watching the race because I'm more invested in the race. But there's a lot of females now who are so, well, I'm not saying nuts, but they are. They get so attached to the drivers. They sort of know all their life, who their partners. Then they start judging their partners. Then when something happens to them on the track, they get really defensive and they start overly criticizing the other drivers. And it's like, oh my God, like it becomes their trophy thing, you know? It's really strange to me. It's like, this is weird. You've got deeply attached to a person. Like, my God, they take it to the extreme, and it's like, that's wild to me. Now, I know it's probably is, it's not meaning to be sexist, but you can argue it is being sexist, but I'm not, you know, it's just an awareness. I don't see guys acting like this. So there's no point, the point is in life, there's no point sugarcoating something. There's no point me acting like that's not happening when that's happening. But I find it mental, in all honesty. I'm like, this is just wild. Like, why can't you just watch something and enjoy it without taking it to the freaking depths of detail that doesn't even need to go? It's just weird to me. Anyway. And then add those characteristics. This isn't supposed to be all about hating or anything like that. It's just an awareness. We've already got people who go, they take on new hobbies and then they act like they're the masters at it. And I find that really weird. You know, really strange, to be totally honest. And because that's what's happening. Then I'm going to show you this example now, because it annoyed me, to be totally honest. I just thought, what the hell goes on in these people's heads? And I think it's just self-explanatory. Shouldn't really need me. I think the comments section worried me more because I just thought, bloody hell, there's more of them. Now, if you just read one specific genre, then maybe I could understand. Let's say it's romance. Maybe I could understand romance. Maybe you only want to hear from a woman's narrative. That's up to them. But you're blocking out an awful lot of work and content and narrative. But I can't think for the life of me why you'd only read one genre for the entire life. That must be so boring, because if you're only hearing one style of book, it's the same as watching one style of movie. I can't just watch, for instance, action movies continuously or sci-fi all the time. You know, I have to have a mix. I love comedy. I love to laugh. I like all different types of content. How can you just read one type of book? I mean, that's up to people. That's just strange, because all them books would be almost copies of each other. That's the real problem with books in general. When you read novels, a lot of novels are adaptations of someone else's novel. That's what it is, you know. If someone will read Harry Potter and they'll start taking twists on Harry Potter and they start deviating it. I wouldn't be surprised if Harry Potter stemmed from Lord of the Rings in some ways, you know. There's because there is in the people interpret things and then they change it all. What's the other one I've been reading? Oh, Thorn of Roses. I've got that set, and that's based on, is it Beauty and the Beast? And that's you know, so everything's like a take on, and it's a great take, but you know, you're going to struggle to find originality if you keep consuming the same information. But anyway, so let's listen to what she has to say and tell me. Like, people, I'm not having the comments open because I'm fading away. I'm getting fed up with society in general. In all honesty, I'm losing patience with it all. I don't want to keep talking about Trump's America because it's getting on my nerves. So you know what? I'm fed up talking about the guy. He's clearly a messed up president, and it's like I can't put my time and energy towards it. And sadly, it doesn't seem like the world is really. It's a part of the world is healing, and the others got their head up their arse. To be totally honest. Anyway, so I'll play this. It's not that long, 25 seconds. Decide yourself if you think it's normal. I think it's batshit crazy.
How male authors still haven't figured out how precarious their position is on our bookshelves. You say one single thing to annoy me, you're out of here. You're gone. Like, I don't even bat an eye at this point because I don't care. You're so easily replaceable. It's crazy how male authors still haven't figured out how precarious.
So men are easily, forget the author part. Men are easily replaceable. Then the same can be said for women. If you're going to start going that way, it makes me laugh that people can go to that depth and say, if you say one thing, it's almost like you're just lucky to be in their presence. Now, I don't want to say anything because if you're that anti-men, then I'm guessing they are, you know, a lesbian or something. Because like, how could you be that anti-male? Like, I can understand maybe if you've got, okay, if you have zero attraction, then it's easier to phase them out, block them out completely. But that's a really strange way of going through life, is to completely block out another gender. And as soon as they do something to trigger you, like you're waiting to be triggered. If you're going to do that, why buy their books in the first place? Why interact with them in the first place? If you're going to be that anal retentive about shit, and you're going to be that sensitive, imagine being that sensitive that as soon as someone says one little thing, you just block off the entire gender. That's mental. There's some healing this person needs to go through because they're clearly nuts. To be honest, I just looked and thought, wow, that's crazy. So because someone's a female, I believe this is going to happen, people could use pseudonyms. So let's say I wanted to write a romance novel. Let's say I wanted to write a romance novel. And I'm thinking, got batshit crazy people like this. I'm just going to use a female pseudonym. How would she know? You know, so like, these people are dense. They really are. It's like, this is crazy to me. Like people can rationalize that as much as they want, but I can't even see the rationality in it. Personally, I don't favor one gender over the other when I'm reading a book. I just read what they've got to say, and I don't really sit there thinking, is this too female? Is this too men? Is this, you know, too masculine? Nah, this is mental. And it's scary because then I go through the comments section of this thing, and I'll have a look. I'll show you. No, actually, laugh my ass off. The way he immediately vanished off my to be read. Now, it might be a certain author, I don't know. And someone said, I hope you have the same feeling for female authors. Then there's a reason ACOTAR are not on my shelves. Can't be one rule for one and one for another. That's what I'm saying. That was a female said that. Ooh, what's she done? My book club are trying to get me to read ACOTAR. She's a I'm not going to go into this. And they've put all the names are pretty great. I haven't heard anything controversial from them either. And even if you hear something controversial, does it even matter? Like someone's views shouldn't change your ability to read their books and stuff. You freaking weirdos. Like, I'm going to say it. I don't give a shit. Then someone's put the names down. I heard some people talking about Sanderson recently. Not sure what it was about, but I'm scared he might have got to go too. It's always, I don't like being sexist, but it's always the women. It is always the women. And it's like, you can't start. It's like, I've seen a cultural issue with some content creators in general, cultural, not gender now, where there's a lot of repetitions in their wording, a certain phrasing. It triggers the shit. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, it's so annoying. But in this case, it is very much the women who go on this cancel culture shit. And I'm really anti-cancel culture. I get pissed off with it. Just because someone's got a viewpoint on this or they don't like that, all of a sudden they get cancelled. So you'll cancel all their work. Like Brandon Sanderson, I haven't read all his books. I've got quite a few on my Kindle. They're very big books, but they're almost like the size of Game of Thrones. And he has a huge reputation in the grand fantasy genre. Like he has a huge reputation as one of the best. So to try, I think, to eradicate him because he's got a view on whatever he's got a view on, that's outrageous. Like, I'm quite opinionated. People notice. He could have the complete opposite view of me, but that's not going to change me. Like I might, it's a fundamental. He might have a fundamental view that I really don't like, but that's not going to change my ability to read his books. Though, it'll change my ability to interact with him and maybe how I have my opinion of him in general. But it's not going to change the works. If his books are great, they're great. So you go when you attach, I think, creative arts to the person. I think, and you start to hold it against them, I think it's just, for me, it's just deluded. It's absolutely mental. These people are thick as shit. I could argue with them all day long. I hate the cancel culture, and I will always stand up against that. As soon as I see cancel-related shit, I just think, you know what, you're mental. You're absolute mental of a human being. Because it's easy to target people and try and ruin their lives, you know? Absolute joke, mate. So, that you believe me, the cancel culture triggers the shit out of me. I would never side with the cancel culture. So, you know, if I don't like someone specifically, I'll point out the fact that I don't like them. I can not like someone personally, but I wouldn't be seeking to destroy someone's career and things like that, you know. No, that's just thick. People are just dickheads, to be totally honest. I don't mind saying it. I don't give a shit. So how can you say that? I'm scared it's going to have, I'm scared they might be involved. They might have something bad about them because I'll have to remove them from my bookshelf. You idiot. Right, deleted last comment because outdated. He has reversed an old homophobic stances, but he's still an active teething. 10% income goes to the church member and continues to support the Mormon Church, stating that he supports people and would like the church to be less homophobic. But if it doesn't, that's okay because God wants it that way. Which personally, I still know. But then that's his opinion. Who gives a shit? Give your high horse, you freaking moron. So unless you agree 100% with someone, you could not be accepted in society, so your work could not be consumed. Go and do one, you weird bastards. Because I will get fired up. I do. I get really pissed off with it because it's like, who in this world is perfect? Who in this world is perfect, and perfect by what standard? What metric? Who are we trying to appease? And then you'll find people who are not themselves because they're so busy trying to be perfect for everybody else that they try their best to be what everybody wants them to be, and guess what? It won't work. You still won't be appreciated because there'll always be some margin, some criteria you haven't met. You know, it's just these people are the worst. These people are the worst kind in society. I can't stand them at all. Like I despise them with every ounce of my being. In all honesty, I'm not here to be. Again, I'm not this freaking. Believe that shit. I'm not this toxic positivity shit, mate. I'll tell you what I think, and if I'm pissed off with something, I'm pissed off with something. If I don't agree with something, I don't agree with it. I'm not going to sit here and be everybody's cheerleader and go and do that shit. Shove that up your ass, for sure. So get that out of your mind. If anyone ever thinks that, like you know, a lot of my books about healing is about looking inside yourself, you know, growing and evolving. But it's also about being realistic. You know, I'm not here to sort of like be everybody's champion. That's not going to happen at all. You have to get out your ass first. Humble yourself. Yeah. Accept people for who they are to begin with. And then you can form an opinion based on things. But it's not about like going overly critical to the point where you're trying to diminish someone's life. These people, man, what it is, I always picture it's always like they're sitting on their high horse. And then they all gather together like all this thing, and then they get to lord over people and judge them. And it's like, yeah, but what makes you so bloody perfect? Like this dipshit here, like you can sit there and criticize male authors. Well, she wrote, and I don't know if she has wrote. Maybe she's a frickin'. If she's wrote books or something, you got to say, what dickhead? Do you know what I mean? To have that understanding how hard it is to write a book, how vulnerable you make yourself by publishing it, and then being that critical of them because they're gender. What a prat! What an idiot! Anyway, wait, what did he do? I literally just bought his first book. Like I could return it so easily. I don't know what this person's done. I couldn't give a shit. But do you know what I mean? Like the person they're referring to, I don't know. He complained there's not enough young adult books being put out for boys. Hell yeah, that's true. They're getting bent out. Oh my god, they're so fucking stupid. I heard said he was inspired by Jordan Peterson. Who gives a shit? I was inspired by Jordan Peterson when I first started. I'm going about a spiritual breakthrough now. I saw Matt Kahn, and he was good. He opened my eyes to a few things. It just made me realise that I want, certain things within my own life. And then Jordan Peterson woke me up to certain things. And then I stopped listening to Jordan Peterson because I had my own views on topics. But I don't really listen now. But if he says something intelligent, and I think, I can, I agree with that, then I can watch it. I don't agree with everything he says, but I think to say if you consume this or this cancel culture, man, is going crazy. They're they're going to be the end of themselves, where they're going to have this toxic positivity, where life isn't real. They're trying to build a fairy tale, and it's going to blow up in their face because that fairy tale is an illusion. You're not living in the real world, so you're not healing. You're not integrating. This division is not integration. So, yeah, building a utopia of shit. Good luck with that. Where you've got no values, no morals. It's like you think you're moral high ground, but you haven't, because you've actually just tried to ruin everybody's careers, everybody's lives. You actually tried to act like God, messiahs, when you had no right to do so. Good luck with that fake existence. That makes me laugh. All this is just bollocks. I did see that, but I did see the books for boys when I was searching. So what's wrong with someone saying there's not enough young adult books for boys? Because I've heard that statement in the past. Because they say girls tend to be the ones reading it at that variation of age, that there's more profit to be made. So there's not that many boy books at that age. But then that makes you think, well, why would boys be interested in reading then if there's no books for them that would be interesting? So it makes sense, does it not? Jesus Christ, it's just obvious. You guys have male authors on your shelves, and then this one has put most BIPOC. I don't know what any of this means, and queer male authors. But every once in a blue moon, I give a CIS het. Wow, man, can't even talk English. I can't deal with this. I hate abbreviations. I freaking hate this shit. I hate anagrams. I hate abbreviations. Just talk like a fucking normal human being that people can read. I can't even read that shit, and she's going to criticize male authors. That she can't read them when I can't even read her bloody sentence. I'm not getting fired up because of who she is. It's just I hate people that write like that, because I've got to try and interpret that shit and I can't understand a word she's fucking saying. Mostly BIPOC. I don't know what that is, and I'm not Googling this shit. Imagine reading a book, and you've got to keep fucking Googling anagrams. And queer male authors, but every once in a blue moon I get CIS HET. Fucking hell, who can be bothered to read that shit? She's got 46 likes. People manage to understand that language. Oh my God, I can't stand this. She's doing my head in. Cancel me, motherfucker. I've always said that. I couldn't give a rat's ass of shit. I really couldn't. I'm not in this world to play silly bollocks with these people till they get their head out their ass. Do you know what I mean? Jesus Christ. Hot take. Words on a page shouldn't matter. Oh, like that. Give that a like, you stupid cretins. They put words on a page shouldn't matter who wrote them. Except that people pay money to read those words, and we aren't about to financially support people we don't agree with. Oh, I could see. I mean, I really want to comment. I want to tell them they're thick as shit. I'd love to just do it. Absolute morons. And they validate in the stupidest of ways. That's fine, though. It has nothing to do with books that are already on your shelf. By removing them, you're not refunding. Yeah, but she's already bought the book. I actually fully agree, unless the words reflect them negatively. I don't think that even matters. I genuinely don't think that matters. It's like sometimes you've actually got to consume things you don't like to educate yourself. Again, we're going to go down this path of toxic positivity. Good luck with that. Freaking weird people. There are way too many good books to keep those types of people on our shelves. What types of people? People with sort of unique perspectives and opinions. God damn, you should be offended by someone else's opinion. God damn, how deep does that affect your day? Because people just want to mind control and turn you into them. I hardly read any male authors anyway, aside from some classics. Not some classics, classics. I'm sure there are good ones out there, but for the most part, ... I just don't care what they have to say. I don't think anyone gives a shit what that one's got to say. Couldn't even articulate. Again, because if they're going to play silly bollocks criticising, then we can all play silly bollocks criticising, can't we? That was terrible grammar. The judgmental nature, and I'm like, look, you don't want to be sexist, and I hate the idea that we are, but I think at times we are naturally. I think sometimes we are, because I can't help it. Look, none of us can. Look. My two favorite people on the planet are females. My mum and my daughter. That's never going to change. So, my favorite people are not men. So if you think about it that way. And in fact, when I think about like men role models in my life, I don't have men. I don't even have any really. So, but I know who I am. And it's like, and I've met good people along my journey. I'm quite an independent person. I don't like big groups of people. So it doesn't mean I haven't met great people, like guys along the way, But so this man hating is just really, I just think it's really deluded and intense. And like I said, a lot of women, they go down this self-righteous path and they just sort of band together and gang up. And again, like I said, they get that obsessive culture. Guys just tend to just get on with shit, for the most part, the way their mind works, they just get on with things. They don't obsess like the way the women do. And then women form these groups and then and then it magnifies. I guarantee you the cancel culture started from a woman. I don't even know if it did, but I can't think of a guy that would come up with cancel culture. It's an obsessive thought that women just keep going down. Then they band together and it creates this thing, and it just expands. And it's crazy. They just need to relax. For God's sake, just relax for Jesus Christ. Anyway, look how amazing the First Sisters trilogy is. He was unworthy of sharing shelf space even before he opened his mouth. Can we talk about how amazing the First Sisters trilogy? I don't know what that is. He was unworthy of sharing shelf space even before he opened his mouth. Who is this idiot? This is a guy saying this, by the way. This guy seems like an absolute prat. Who are you to say he's worthy, you freaking moron? Haven't even bought a Mel book in years. What sort of delusion is that? But again, if you just read romance, now what's the romance books about then? Because you can't possibly be around a guy then, because if they're that hot, if they're that gross, if guys are that gross, because guys are opinionated, they don't like the fact that we can speak up too. It's just weird, isn't it? It's like, what a weird culture. Because it's not being funny if you're not prepared to listen to the other gender at all, and you could be that disassociated with them. How can you actually grow? Because you grow from experiences. So it's often said like that. You could be in a community where everyone just thinks the same, and you think you're safe, but you're not going to. You don't find growth in that community. You find growth by having challenging conversations, challenging perspectives. It helps the mind grow. So when you eradicate an entire narrative, an entire voice, yes, it amplifies yours. It might make you more justified in your approach to life. But you're forgoing an entire narrative because you're scared of what they're going to say. And you're acting strong on your side, posturing as intelligent and self-righteous. It's just sad and pathetic. But hey, what's my opinion anyway? I don't think they particularly care either. Like, yeah, genuinely, I'm just reactive to the point of this the sexism really, and the way they're vilifying people they haven't even met, and they judge them based on their personal views, not their creative abilities. I just think that's sad and pathetic. Like, you can't detach one from the other. I mean, what is that? Like, how dense? But on the whole, yeah, when they're saying they don't buy male author books, I don't give a shit if they buy my books. Like, don't buy my books. Stay away from them for all I care. Like, I couldn't give a shit. If you can't handle deep, challenging perspectives, then definitely stay away and stay in your flaky world. I always say that I'm not here to heal everyone. I've no interest in healing everybody on the planet. Some people just can't be healed anyway. Like, I'm only interested in healing people that want to be healed. And it's going to be about confronting situations and talking about challenging topics. And there's going to be times when I have my own personal opinion. I don't sit on the fence. It's the thing with me. You might have people that, that can be inspiring. They can lead, and you can lead by example and all these things. But they stay on the fence, and they just try to placate and appease everybody. So they stay on that neutral territory. But I think leaders lead. Leaders speak up when there's genuinely something to speak up on. Sometimes I'm going to... So this is the thing. Like, I don't favor men over women. I don't favor women over men. If I see a topic where I think women are pushing the boundaries here and they're being really disrespectful, and it's specifically women, I'm going to talk on that issue with women. If there's a guy that's doing the same thing, I'm going to talk about the guy. If there's someone that's pushing religion, or someone entirely disrespecting religion, like not in a very, very rude way, I'm going to talk on both sides of that. That's the thing with me. So, like, you might hear one side of me and you go, wait a minute. Oh, he's sexist. He's talking, but he's hating women today. I'm just not liking these women today. And there's going to be guys I don't like. I talk about Trump all the time. Now, that's politics, and I get that. But there's going to be, and there's different people, different sides of that political spectrum. And that's what happens in society. There's all these different nodules, you know, this, and this. There's cultural issues, you know. I don't favour anyone over the other. I'm just balanced, what I consider balanced in my perspective, and I will talk on issues that most people stay on the fence with. That's the thing. So yeah, fear of being cancelled, couldn't give a shit. I'd rather be cancelled and be myself, you know. So do what you want. Jesus Christ. Is this what kids today call praxis? Oh my gosh, I had no idea. I'm literally returning Empire of Silence. I was about to start it. Male authors still dominate book sales. I don't think it should be a case of anyone dominates book sales, you know, just people. The way I'm glad I held off from investing in this series despite the positive. Yeah, I don't know. I think this might be a thread about some guy at the top here. I'm not going to say his name. I got no idea who the freaking hell he is. But whatever his views on life are, I don't see how it's relevant to the books. I have a very short list of male authors that I still deign to read, and I'm not accepting new applications at this time. Oh, holy shit. They must be terrified that you don't approve. Facts, I have so many books and shelves of prime real estate. Oh, god damn, prime real estate. Again, people are weird with their shelves, you know. It has to look a certain way. It has to be... I don't know, man. They never will learn. On another note, I'm 2.5 years into reading books written by women. I don't think people care that you're sexist, like in general, like in your everyday life. I don't think they give a shit that you won't put a male's book on your shelf. Like, Jesus, get over it, you weird freak. Jesus, to live your life like this, I find mental. It is sad. Look, lame trend. I'm thinking the same thing. I'm trying to articulate the best I can without saying absolute dickheads. You know, in my head, that's all that's going on in my head. These people are morons. Like, unreal, but they all sort of validate into each other, and that's what I'm talking about that cultist ideology and the cancel culture thing. It's just like it becomes that herd mentality, and it's just like weird because they all just validate it to each other, and that's what I just think. My God, you ain't just got one delusional person. You're breeding a whole generation of them. Oh, Christ. I've never had the displeasure of reading anything by a man. Good luck with that. More women read and buy books. By a large margin, you're catering to us. I don't think catering to anyone. You're just catering to an audience. You're just catering to people who want to read a story. I think, again, women are always doing this. They always act like they're vulnerable and they're the freaking marginalised, yet they're always the ones trying to marginalise others. If you actually look at most movements in society, most societal movements, a lot of them stem from women. They're quite vocal when it comes to issues. So when it favours them in some way, they're very quick to just create a division. And if you actually look at this, it's a lot of time it is the women creating the division. Just saying, have a look. Leave them to their own shit. Again, it's only specific women. I have nothing. I'm not anti-women at all, you know. It's just I'm anti these type of women's, these overly feminist nature nonsense create, you know, oh my God. I don't want to start going too mental into them, but they are delusional. Yeah. The only male authors that have a place on my shelf are Rick Reed and blah, blah, blah. I reached a point where I pirate everything and only give them my money after I'm convinced they don't use my money to support hate and genocide. So people should work free for you, and then you can consume it because you're entitled to it. That's nice. You literally, you see, your money's better spent on a McDonald's, whatever you want to spend it on, but not the people that actually took the time to creatively write it. If you have no interest in spending the money, you shouldn't be reading it. Really. Anyway, if that's your values in life, and they think they're morally high, they think they got the moral high ground over the person who wrote the book. They think they're better morally. Their mind's warped. I'm supposed to purchase books written by men. Wait, not supposed to do anything. You're supposed to be a normal human being, but that seems taxing for a lot of people, doesn't it? You already gave them your money. They don't care. I think they care if you bought it in the first place. So it's actually because of that interview about young adult books. If so, just grow up. I mean, I could like a lot of this. I don't really interact in comment sections. I'd love to, though, but I just can't be bothered. I always say that if you do comments, you're just leaving a trail of shit behind. You don't know where that trail, how far back it goes, you know. So I just can't be asked. Plus, you can't change someone's perspective who was already a moron. So the only male authors on my shelf are either LGBT or dead. Now, there's another woman. I can't remember what this one is yet. Yeah, okay, so we're going down toxic women situation right now. If anyone's got this far, you're probably hating me to death. But again, I'm only sharing examples here. Like, this is just feeding into what I'm saying, and I've seen it. Like I said, there's a lot of content I could be creating recently, and I've just stepped away from it. I'm like, I can't be bothered to keep doing this shit. So what's this? I think this is normal. And again, it's sad that people do. It's so attractive when a guy doesn't give up on a woman despite her blocking him, ignoring him, and being mean to him. So she wants to be abusive and toxic to a man and thinks that he should keep coming after her, which would then be literally abusive, because if you've blocked him and he's still pressuring you, he's being abusive, isn't he? He's literally stalking and harassing. And you want someone that does that because you want to validate that they care. And if you don't do those things, and you're not, they just want to toxically test guys to see how interested they are. I mean, that is a really weird way of handling situations, isn't it? As soon as I looked at that, I was like, my God. And I'm sorry, like, I'm not trying to hate on genders and do all that, but they're not. But some of them don't help themselves. This is just outrageous. Like, I'm saying it straight hand now. As soon as things get complicated like that, I don't even bother. So I've always said that. If I'm in a situation and someone's got the choice between me and someone else, take the other person. I can't be asked. I'm not competing with anyone. I shouldn't have to compete for someone's heart. I'm prepared to give someone my heart in the same way they should to me. It's about open, communicate. That's what it's all about, communication. If you can be honest and transparent with each other, you should be able to talk about absolutely anything, whether it's intimate, whether it's something funny. You should be able to just talk to your partner. If it's that complicated that you can't talk to them, and there's always going to be like criticism where they don't actually take time to listen and understand, why are you in a relationship with them? I see women criticizing guys all the time, even intimate in the bedroom. I see lots of women making stupid comments on this platform, on like TikTok and things. And they always say about guys not performing, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, have you ever thought to maybe just communicate with your guy? If you just spend a couple of sessions literally talking to the guy, explaining what it is you want, being confident enough to actually do that, and take the time to figure it out together. So there'll be a bit of uncomfortable moments. Maybe they're not performing quite right, and maybe it's uncomfortable. But once they figured it out, your whole relationship's going to be beautiful, isn't it? Because you took the time to literally work together as a team, which is what it should be, not this competition. And I'm just seeing a lot of women competing with guys, and I just think this is just sad, man. You haven't even figured it out. It would be a lot easier if you just be open with each other and communicate and not waste each other's time. Stop like this emasculation and abuse of people, and you've considered that healthy relationships and a healthy dating. It's like, this is wild. So like I say, as soon as I see signs that it's like anything toxic or anything where it's competitive, I'll walk away myself. I'm not competing with anyone. You shouldn't have to compete with someone for their heart, You either have deep feelings for someone or you don't. I'm not a statistic. So yeah, that would look like I don't care. That's far from it. It's just I care enough about myself not to put myself in positions where I just know it's not reciprocated. Because if someone has to doubt it or hesitate, then they're not feeling it the same way you are. And it's understanding that it's like, okay, it hurts, but I'll walk away. And that's how I feel. So like I said, someone might misconstrue that as not interested, but that's your toxic traits, thinking that's your answer to the situation. Except some of us have integrity and values, something that some people don't. Anyway, let's go through some of the comments with this one, because this one's a freaking mess. You don't think it's attractive, you just like the attention. It's not the same. Exactly. I can't stand attention seekers either. Real. And this is where you get baited. So as soon as someone says something, they'll be accused of being ignorant. They don't get it. There's a problem. It's like, I've seen this a lot in the comments, that women are very toxic like this. Again, not always women, but there's a lot of women. There's no point sugarcoating it. In this situation, there's no point sugarcoating it. I could sit here with all day backtrack and keep saying, not all women, not all women. I'm going to argue a majority of women. There's a lot of women. I'd say about 80% of women are like this. They all do it. And there's no point pretending they don't, because this is that not being honest about situations. If you think about it, when you go on hen parties, you go on holidays together, you go on little groups together, there's always this man hating, and there's always this like complaining about men, and then they all agree. So there's no point pretending they don't, because they do. It's just they don't admit shit. That's the problem. Be honest about it. Jesus. If she don't want, why keep trying? We want, but we're testing how far and how much effort they're willing to give to us. She's got 200 likes on that. That is so toxic. It's unreal. That's the most toxic thing I've ever heard from women. I'll like that one. I don't normally get involved. Definitely don't get involved in comments, but I'll like that one. You know what's toxic? You men. She's literally shown her toxicity. I said they're going to turn it back. No shit that we do that to test you, because most men nowadays look for short-term things to fulfill their needs, not a woman they care about. I'm sorry, women do the same fucking thing. I hate this thing in society like this, where men are always accused of looking for you actually find there's a lot of guys actually who have deep hearts, but there's a lot of women do too. So this isn't like women hating in any way. As I know, there's a lot of women that have high values and standards too. But there's a lot of guys too. And if you actually look at it on the whole, if you actually look at relationships, especially when people have kids, most very rarely, I'm not saying all, but very rarely does a woman stay single. Like in my case, I know it might maybe argue I'm a unique case. I've been single for 8 years. I don't care whether anyone believes it or not. I've documented it in my books. I think it's quite apparent, quite obvious. To break it into timescales, 2017, my ex-partner left because she went to a secret relationship with someone else, but she hid behind a load of accusations and lies to hide that fact. Our daughter was traumatized for all of this. My daughter is the truth in all of it. So anybody that starts, you can side one way or the other about something you know nothing about, which a lot of people like to do, jump on the bandwagon. My daughter's 15. She's lived this. She obviously knows the truth. So next year, 16, she's becoming closer and closer to being an adult. So if she ever decides to talk on anything, she can in the future. But believe me, even at this age, and that was from just before she turned 7, she's never swayed from saying she wants to live with her father, me. Our relationship is very tight. Anyway, I'm not going to go deep into that. So, yeah, my focus has been on her and uplifting my life. So 2017 was there. Then we go family court was towards the end of 2018. So I'm trying to get my life back together. I'm trying to reset, trying to figure out how the logistics are going to work, trying to get my mental health back together because it's really taxing. 2020, I relocated, moved. We're in 2025 now. So you can see how the pattern goes. Then all of a sudden you're establishing this in your life. You're getting this job. You're doing this. I've got my book projects. As you can see, I've got plenty of books. I've just been busy, man. If a relationship comes that truly captivates my heart, I'm open for it. But yeah, time just moves forward. It's not like you go out of your way to say, I'm going to wait a long time. So some people might start at the beginning of that thinking you're talking nonsense. Well, not really. Time just keeps moving forward, and it's 8 years. A lot of women end up in relationships immediately. They don't take time to rest, time to reset. So the idea that guys are just jumping into relationships, I actually find a lot of women do. And a lot of that example is where you get a lot of women. I'm not trying to be cruel here because, it's biology. But you get some women who've got like 3 kids, 3 dads. And maybe there's another one on the way, and you're like, bloody hell. But of course, if the guy was in a similar situation, the same biology, maybe they would have multiple kids. So, it's hard to say that. But when you do see it, that is an obvious example, isn't it? Because it's evident. It's proof is in the freaking situation. Again, if you're going to talk about things, we have to talk both sides, don't we? So you can't just sort of like sit there and attack one without there being any sort of like, reaction from the other. Anyway, let's have a look. Where did we go with that one? The most toxic thing I've heard. Anyway, so that's what they said. Not a woman that they care about manipulation then. No, you ain't testing. You're just losing. Exactly, because people just walk away from that shit. Most people, anyone with dignity would walk away from someone playing silly bollocks. Then you're the one losing, not me. Who would want her? Like, if you're going to have this moral, if this is your morals, then who would want that? That's not attractive. Actually, actual valuable men will just move on if you're not interested. Exactly. I don't play silly bollocks. You play it to that extreme. I'm not playing that shit. You mess me about. I'm just going anyway. Like, you don't even have to block me. I'll just stop responding. I'm not playing this shit. If you leave me hanging, let's say I send a message and you leave me hanging, and I know I'll know if I'll feel inside of me whether it's purpose. You're delaying on purpose. Like, I know you would have seen it because we know how often people are on their phones. If you know the person personally and things, So it's just if you're playing games, I'll go. That manipulative trick would only work on boys. Exactly. Men have self-respect. Don't chase girls like that. They just accept and move on. Summing this is up, you feed your own ego by making someone chase you while you disrespect him. Exactly. Here is the thing. A guy wants a mature, fun woman, not someone who is insecure and doesn't understand them. That's what I'm getting. There you go. This guy's saying this. Good stuff. By doing tests like this, it's going to push the right guys away anyway. Only the real horny ones will stay. But you seem to know what you're doing. All the best. Exactly. And then now manhunt. And then you get the women saying, where's all the good guys? Where's all the nice guys at? Well, they're not prepared to be disrespected, so good luck. You got a man-hating spree. What do you think the men are going to do? Or he just has self-respect. No, in reality, you want someone to love you so much you don't need to love them back. That's just toxic mind games. Good men are done being screwed. I blocked someone right away the other weeks as I won't risk my heart. Noticed you typed, how much effort they're willing to give. Crazy how he is only focusing on you, and here you are focusing on how much they can give you. Exactly. Why? You're all queens now, or what? That ain't healthy for the both of you. It doesn't take any effort to say the right things. That's what I'm getting at earlier. Grown-ass women playing games, that's crazy. Stop playing, just be nice. Or take us as option or return wherever you get bored. It's not testing, you just like the feeling that comes from being chased. You guys ain't worth that much energy. Anyway, I'm not going to go too deep into this because it was clearly toxic and people picked up on it. This girl says, it sounds toxic, but we want them to prove to us how much they want us. And the woman put, thank you. She literally just said, it sounds toxic. She just took what she wanted out of that phrase. And then the one that she commented to, not the case of every woman. And if I didn't want that man, I'd tell him that. But it's a different case if the woman genuinely loves the man. I do get where you're coming from, but I also stand with my point. So I think she's just saying it's toxic. She gets what she's doing, but it's toxic. And the other girl, I don't think gets it. I don't think she gets. She says she's toxic. There's so many other ways to do that. And even worse, if you're not sure if they want you, what kind of relationship are you? You girls are crazy. I'm sorry for what your father did or did not do during your youth. Know that there are professionals who can help you process this trauma, help you get a healthier outlook on relationships. But what if she actually doesn't like me? How do I recognize those two things from each other? Exactly. This is that damned if you do, damned if you don't shit. Don't play the game. Just leave. Are you aware that if a man does this to a woman, that isn't as toxic as you guys? He will be called a stalker and a creep. What did I say at the beginning? Oh, I just can't even bother to read any much longer. Self-respect plays a bigger role than trying to chase this sort of disrespect. Right? Someone's but preach, bro. These sort of dynamics are never rooted in love because one loves the attention and the other is trying to prove to themselves they're lovable. Oh, I can't even be asked. It's everyone's got it on fire here. Yeah, you are evil. And then the girl, the one that this lunatic's put, bro's been brutally hurt by a woman. And then it's like, then someone's put, I have, and you're literally playing with the feelings of the other person. You're leaving them confused, worthless, and literally everything else. Stop it. It's not funny. It never will be. I lost myself because of this exact behaviour. So that's a guy that's actually suffered deeply by this merry-go-round a playground. And I haven't even clicked more yet, but I bet she comments on this shit, and I bet she tries to ridicule him. And that will definitely show a toxic mentality. Well, she hasn't commented yet. Well, she hasn't, but let's see what goes on. So no one, I don't know if anyone genuinely commented to him. Leading people on, blocking them and hoping they're still after you isn't good. It says a lot about you. She never said she's leading anyone on. She literally just said it. Watch the video. She finds men who keep coming back even though she's hurting, attractive. Oh, I don't know what that says. That was really badly worded. Yeah, buddy, I'm not doing all that. Then she did the right thing blocking you. Because you don't want to be a toxic a dog on a lead. Jesus Christ. These people love toxicity and they just think it's normal. And they call it standards. They're nuts. Now, if a woman insults me, blocks me, my times I'm ignoring her, laugh my ass off, wasted time. Exactly. You know, what do they think? We're desperate to have that attention time. I'm all right on my own, mate. Don't worry about me. I'm good. I don't need that in my life. Jesus. Good luck with that. Jesus, man. What a wild ride some of these people live by. No means no. If she's not feeling you, move on. Don't let these unstable people make you get into trouble. Exactly. This a woman said this. It's funny how you have to validate that when a woman says it and a man says it, so people know you're not trying to just like attack. It's like, God, this is just reflection of society, isn't it? Yeah, and that's what it is. When you've got a group of people, like a big group, we've got 640 comments, you've got a good reflection of society values now. Yeah, I ain't doing that. If she doesn't respect, then go. If she's doing this, she's bored. The guy she really likes doesn't experience it, was probably your turn. I don't think you ever had someone do this to you. Oh, yes, baby. Multiple guys even. Good luck with that, weirdo. That sounds, ooh, that's called stalking. Cry then, as girls, that's what we want. You want a stalker? Same type of cry, men, by the way. Mm-hmm. You'll be the first to call for stalking and harassment, I guess. Exactly. Only when he's attractive, right? I've experienced this, and I can tell you that's not what all women want. It's harassment, and after a while, not only it becomes annoying, but scary as well. I got threatened that they come to my house and something me. So no, thank you. I mean, as a man, I also want my girl to go through hell because I like it. You know, I don't know if he's being sarcastic or not. That's quite mental. That's called a simp. Someone's put, God forbid a man loves a woman. You weirdos. God forbid a man has self-respect. Exactly. I'm not going to go too deep into this shit. We're going down a freaking hate group here. It wasn't the intention. It was to raise awareness. But yeah, if my views on anything offend people, then it's like it's okay to be offended. You've got to get used to that a little bit. You know, I think people are overly sensitive, and I think that's where the problem in society is coming from. And then people prey on other people's vulnerabilities, and then they validate a load of nonsense to them. And then that's how these trends start to form. And then we start going down this path where one gender's hated and vilified and ostracized from society, or at least tried to be eradicated. And then eventually, when you've only got one gender left, they just turn on each other anyway. So, yeah. There's toxicity on all sides, isn't there? But it's just crazy how some people validate their choices and things and think. But like I said, I'm not going to keep creating content because I'm getting fed up trying to educate the world. It's getting irritating for me now. You know, people just need to start opening their eyes.